Hall of Famer Billy Hardwick was the first to win bowling's Triple Crown, the Open, the PBA National, and the Firestone. Here winning the Firestone in 1965. Then in the 80s, lefty Johnny Petraglia became only the second bowler to join the Triple Crown's exclusive club. This afternoon, Pete Weber, with a win, would become only the third bowler ever to wear this symbolic ring. Stay tuned for the PBA National Championship. ABC Sports presents, live in its 28th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. From Toledo, Ohio, on the Maumee River, it's the $280,000 Trust Court PBA National Championship. In our first match, Jim Johnson, Jr. of Wilmington, Delaware, begins his try for a title, going against three-time PBA winner Mark Baker of Garden Grove, California. That winner will beat Amleto Monachelli of Venezuela. Amleto, a two-time champion. Our semifinal game will feature four-time winner Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. Then our tournament leader, Pete Weber, tries to win the third leg of the Triple Crown, the PBA National Championship. 4 games. Intense competition today on the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Right now you're looking at one of the biggest jewels in the crown of Toledo, the revitalized riverfront, the Maumee River. We've been coming here for years. We love the people as they applaud here. 60-lane house, Darrell Duckett's Imperial Lanes, back again for the finals of the $280,000 Trust Corp PBA National Championship. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. We're delighted to bring you the 5 finalists, and what a field we have. We have a non-winner, we have other champions. Today, that winner will get $54,000 and a national title. We have a lot of national titles on the show that follows this wide world of sports. Olympic champions like Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton. Dorothy Hamill and Scott Hamilton. Scott being from nearby Bowling Green, Ohio. Debbie Thomas will also perform, along with other great Olympic and national and world champions. Exhibition skating where they give it their very, very all. That's on Wide World next. A man that gave it his all and still does on the Professional Bowlers Tour is the PBA president, the second Triple Crown winner, Johnny Petraglia. Hello, Chris. John, what was it like, and what did it mean to you winning the Triple?
Well, Chris, I was in a very similar position to Pete. I needed the Nationals for the third jewel, and I was the leader, and when I won, it was the most emotional experience in my bowling career. And Pete bowled great all week. I think he's ready, Chris.
What does the ring look like on a finger?
Oh, this ring, I don't know if they could see it or not. It's my most prized possession right now.
Insured?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Continued good work with the PBA, Johnny.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. A man that was a finalist here, Imperial Lanes, 9 different times. One here in 1970, my colleague, Nelson Burton, Jr.
Thank you, Chris. The PBA National Championship, I believe, is the toughest of all pro tournaments to win. A couple of reasons. Number one, there's more pros in this tournament than any other tournament, more than 350 compared to 160 in other tournaments. The field has to bowl for 7 days instead of just 4 days, and it takes 56 games to get to the championship round. And the man that wins this justly wins the toughest tournament in the sport of bowling. Now, the man on my right is the tournament leader this week and has a chance to win that Triple Crown. But, Peter, you've been in the finals the last 4 years. In 1986, you finished 5th. You bowled poorly. 87, worse. 88, didn't even look like you were trying. What can we see today?
Well, this year, Bo, I've had a different attitude coming in here. I've been more aggressive all week. I've bowled extremely well, and I'm crisp, and I'm ready to win again.
All right. That's a pretty good attitude. Peter, one statement here. Who do you think will be your toughest opponent in the championship game?
Right now, it really doesn't matter. I'll bowl anybody.
What a great attitude. Peter, I saw in the prize money, if you win this tournament, you're going to be just $58 short of winning $1 million in the Professional Bowlers Tour, and I think you have a good chance to win. And as a fellow St. Louis, and I want to make you a millionaire, so I'm going to give you the extra $58 so you can go home a millionaire.
Thank you, Bo. It's going to be it today, right here.
All right, Chris, there's a lot of money available for the other players. Let's take a look.
Ah, yes, Pete Weber. What a chip off the block. Okay, $54,000 of the winner, 27.5, 15, 10, and 8. Big money, most of the year. So, Mark Baker and newcomer Jim Johnson Jr. will go at it first here, head-to-head in our format in its 28th season here on ABC. And you're looking at 28-year-old Jim Johnson Jr. from Wilmington, Delaware. Get this. He is tied for the record in 300s with a total of 31. With strikes like that. He had a 299 here during the week. Now Mark Baker, that three-time champion and a likable guy, very intense competitor from Garden Grove, California. 3 titles, 9 years, and it's his first appearance this year. To be greeted by what we always call a Mark Roth.
You're right, Chris, and that's the 710 type of leave that he left when he converted in Alameda, California a few years back. And what Baker has to do is just simply throw the ball as hard as he can at the 10 pin, hopefully bounce it out. He's going for the 7 and ricochet the pin over.
So this is a tough break for Mark Baker, which he finds difficult to do, like many of us, is control our temper. He held it there.
Well, a very competitive guy, Mark Baker, an instinct player, and has been an excellent athlete in a lot of sports. He was nominated McDonald's High School All-American basketball player, averaged almost 30 points a game in his senior year, so he knows the thrill of competition. He's a tough competitor.
That's very professional life. An open frame left with a 7-10 split. Comes back with a par strike. Now here is Jim Johnson. This is only his 5th PBA Tour event. Strike up, second frame. Leaving a 6-pin on the right lane.
Jimmy Johnson a little nervous coming into the last 2 or 3 games last night, and he just settled down the last game. As you see that 5-step profile of the 6 feet 2 inch tall Johnson, 200 pounds, nice and smooth, kind of the old style of bowling.
Worked as a surveyor in the Wilmington, Delaware area, but now, and rightfully so, he's full-time bowler.
Chris, he's made an adjustment in his game that I haven't seen many pros make, and what he's done is put a sock over his sliding foot. Watch his left foot. You see that sock covering the sliding area, and he has done that to adjust to all the approaches around the country. He said he had a lot of trouble with sticking on approaches.
And as we have a 4-7 on the left lane for Jim Johnson Jr., I can see a lot of amateur bowlers going out this afternoon following the telecast and buying a sock. All right. Strike and 2 spares for Jim Johnson. Mark Baker, who had 47 games out of the 56 over 200 this week. Gets them all. Trailing by 9, he leads by 1.
Man, did he saw those pins up on that shot. Watch the ball come in light. The head pin will do the work. The head pin goes to sideboard, drives out the 4. The 4 comes all the way across the 10. 3-pound, 7 and 8 ounce pins here. Mark Baker uses that tremendous power, just absolutely blasts the rack apart and cuts and takes a 1-pin lead.
Trying for a 3 in a row, leaving the 10-pin on the left lane.
Mark Baker, if there's any 2 little criticisms you'd have of his game, number 1 is his spare making ability sometimes is questionable. Number 2, something he's doing very well today, keeping his form under the pressure. He's keeping solid at the line.
All right, we're in our very first game. Mark Baker checking some debris on the approach. You'll see him bowl along with Jim Johnson in our first game after this.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality. A beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
You've got to be kidding. I mean, a cereal today is supposed to be fun, wild shapes, jelly beans. You got anything like that? These are just flakes. I like this. That's funny, huh? Unless you're going for a retro thing, right? Bringing back all the good stuff. Yeah, it's simple, basic. I like that.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Get out of here. Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
Bob Vila's Home Improvement Secrets.
There's still a few bargains around. If the legs are loose, use glue. Then pack the joint with plastic wood filler. Now that's solid. I'll bet there's some beautiful brass under all this paint. We'll remove the hardware. Strip the paint with easy-off oven cleaner. Now you can see the detail. No need to refinish this hardwood floor. We'll help restore the look of any worn patches with Old English scratch cover.
Plastic wood filler, easy off oven cleaner, Old English scratch cover, the home improvers.
The championship pair here at Darrell Ducat's Imperial Lanes, they're set up lanes 25 and 26. The oil pattern is very heavy. The first part of the lane, approximately 20 feet, and then a little bit lighter in the center of the lane, approximately 41 feet of oil carried down, and then the last 19 feet dry. And then here are the lines that the players are playing. The fellow Johnson's playing right down the first arrow, almost a straight shot in the pocket. The cranker power players, Weber, Monachelli, Baker, so forth, all the way out to the edge, breaking it back into the 1-3, Chris.
All right. Capacity crowd here at Imperial Lanes again, coming to Toledo for 13 years. 8 years of the Trust Corp PBA National Championship. Fourth frame. Earlier, we asked Jim how he came up with the idea of wearing a sock.
Well, it helps my game because I get a consistent slide on all different approaches, synthetic and wood, and keeps my game going, and it seems to work for me. Not everybody can use it, obviously, but I've gotten accustomed to it, and it seems to help my game.
Trying for the lead on that shot in an even match, leaving the 6-10. Johnson, Johnson, and Johnson. You can call me Johnson. That's right. His mom, Lois, his wife, Terry, and his brother, Kevin, who is also a PBA member. With a spare up, Mark Baker now shoots in the 5th.
Mark, the full grip, tucks that pinky finger to even tighten his grip a little more. Tremendous power, great wrist action.
You just joined us. We're live at Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, historic city. Mark Baker trying for his first national championship in our first match.
Style of Mark Baker, deliberate push away, just tremendous power at 6 feet 4 inches tall, 200-some plus pounds. You see that hand rotating completely around the ball, the maximum wrist action. The match is even. He can take the lead. 6th frame.
That was nearly a channel shot, or whatever you want to call it.
That's a good enough name for it, Chris. That was out of bounds for Mark Baker. He sent it very, very wide, left the 1, 2, and 10 washout. And what he has to do is get the ball over in the 1-2 area, drive it into the head pin into the 10 to convert, and the match would still be tied. Otherwise, he falls behind by more than 10 pins.
Wanted it to hook. You heard him holler it at the line. So it's his second open frame. Remember, he started out with a 7-10 in the very first.
I think he thinks he has this. He says, hook, there you go. Couldn't have missed it by more than a half an inch.
Now with a spare up shooting in the 6th, leading by 12. Very powerful guy at 6'2", 207 pounds. Never played any other sports. Big enough, of course. But he umpired a lot in the Babe Ruth League and some of the adult semi-pro leagues around Newark, Delaware.
And he has a hobby, Chris, of coaching Little League teams. He is very proud of his Little League teams, as you see one of the programs we'll see tomorrow. It'll be interesting to watch the races once again. And one of my good men is coming back after a wrist injury. Bill Elliott's returning and trying to drive the 500. It should be very interesting. See if he can even finish.
And the non-winner, hoping for that double. What a tough break, leaving the 4-7-9.
Chris, as you said earlier, I bowled in the championship round 9 times here, and this left-hand lane has always had this problem of hooking too much. He has to get the ball over here in the 4-7 area, drive it over into the 9, and that 4-9 split is something we've seen many times in the championship round here at Imperial Lanes.
So it's the first open frame for the Wilmington, Delaware bowler, giving him 126 through 7, and the match is all even. We'll be back.
Wherever wheels are rolling, no matter what the load, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road, wherever folks vacation, wherever crops are grown, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road.
Everyone knows Dristan nasal spray starts to work fast, but just how fast?
Faster than Dolly can pick up a $5 tip.
Faster than a politician can shake hands.
Now, Dristan nasal spray has a new spray pump. Dristan works fast to relieve nasal congestion, stuffiness, even sinus pressure. So, if you want relief...
Faster than a fan on a hot day.
Try regular or long-lasting Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
See that lone 10 pin? Mark Baker in the 8th frame had left the 3-6-10. Comes up with his 3rd open frame, which in professional bowling on the caliber of this disaster. He had a strike in the 7th frame. We bowled while we were away because we're running behind our time schedule early. That one's sliding by, leaving the 2 sleeper 8.
See the angle that Jim Johnson's playing as he comes to the foul line. Overhead shot, slides almost perpendicular to the foul line. Good follow through. Ball finishes light, leaving the 2-8 double wood, another tough spare. To set up this championship here and what has happened so far in this match, historically the left-hand lane, lane 25 here, has always hooked about 4 boards more than 26. And the reason being is that it's just the grain of the wood. There's a lot of soft pine between the 20-foot mark and the 60-foot pocket, and that causes that left lane to hook more. The player who's been able to conquer it has always been tough in this center.
Hoping for a foundation frame strike, leaving the 7 pin. Still a tight, close match. The Johnson family and Mom is wringing her hands early.
Right now with a spare, Johnson would have a 11-pin lead. He'd be going at a 185 pace. Baker 174. The match is far from over.
And of course, should we have a tie any game, any time, it's a 2-frame roll-off as Terry Johnson looks up at the overhead score sheet. Mark Baker knows the situation now after an open, his 3rd. 9th frame. Robbed. Looked like a pin was going to carry the 10, but didn't.
The shot that Baker carried in the 3rd frame was a slasher just like that, except the head pin hit the 4 pin and drove it over into the 10. That time, the 4 pin went straight back, the head pin missing the 10. Baker will be trailing by 11 pins going into the final frame.
And the winner of our first game will meet Amleto Monachelli, followed by Dave Ferraro, and then our tournament leader, Pete Weber.
So far in the match, as we could see, there's been 7 strikes between the two players, yet only 1 strike on the left-hand lane. And as Baker checks the scoreboard, he needs 3 strikes to finish with 184. Right now, Johnson going at a 185 pace. The match is up for grabs.
Really sending that shot wide on that left lane.
A fine attempt by Baker. He really trusts the ball in the clutch here. Instead of pulling it up, he sends it very wide in a pressure situation, starts the ball with the first arrow, sends it out almost the last board. The sharp break, but no carry of the 10-pin. Tough break.
Baker 6'4", 220.
He has to concentrate on this final ball. The most he can get is 173, but if Johnson would happen to open, Baker could still either tie or win the match. It's far from over unless Baker gets a horrible count.
And wide, and again. Tough way to end, shooting a 171.
The big test for the rookie right now. He needs 8 on the first ball to put himself in the driver's seat. Any type of spare will win a strike. Absolute lock. Not over yet.
Because 3 of the 10 are still standing. Part of the bucket for this right-hander.
This sets up the possibility of a tie match. If he would happen to chop the 2-4 off the 5, and any bowler who bowls knows that's very much a possibility, we would have a 171 tie. It's either going to be a tie or a win for Johnson.
Ken Johnson, first time on national television, eliminates Mark Baker. Baker shooting a 171 will have the final score for Johnson after this message. Monachelli next.
What you get out of a project depends on what you put into your workshop. So get Master Mechanic power tools from True Value Hardware stores. Like their high-speed finishing sander for just $44.99. Or their 1/3 horsepower variable speed jigsaw for only $34.99. Or get a Master Mechanic 1 3/4 horsepower plunge router for just $65.99. And their 7 1/4 inch circular saw for only $39.99 at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
You'd better send some money, Val. They say I need a root canal.
I've told them about your bad, putrid rage. You better send money. They're trashing my stage.
Send $100, son. Smokey nailed me with a radar gun.
To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 12,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less.
Adios, bullethead.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
ABC News voted best in the business by the Washington Journalism Review. Peter Jennings, Sam Donaldson, David Brinkley. No wonder ABC News is America's choice.
LA Gear salutes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I'd like to add just one footnote to my career.
Have you ever faked orgasm?
You can't say that on TV.
That's the first in the history of television.
Unless you're Arsenio.
Welcome to America.
Believe me, this guy is breaking all the rules.
My time is come.
And you'll want to see what he'll do next.
Weeknights at 11:30.
The Ford Escort outsells the Corolla, the Sentra, even the Honda Civic. Why? Well, we did a comparison. And feature for feature, the Escort LX offered a lot more than all those imports for a lot less money. Prove it to yourself. Visit your Ford dealer for your free copy of this comparison. You'll see that Ford Escort gives you top-line quality and bottom-line value.
Now, 4.9 financing or $500 cash back on Escort, only at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Professional Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Kellogg's Corn Flakes, simple, delicious, and surprising. Taste them again for the first time. And by Dristan Nasal Spray. Nothing's faster for relief of congestion.
Capacity crowd here at Imperial Lanes for another PBA National Championship. First game has ended. Jim Johnson Jr., a non-winner, defeating Mark Baker 182 to 171. And now from Barquisimeto, Venezuela, Amleto Monachelli. Here's a look at the Budweiser Kingpin standings. Coming into this tournament, Mike Albee, his back-to-back victories, is in the lead. Budweiser sponsoring a $50,000 pointless competition which will run through the winter and spring tours. Players finishing among the top 20. 4 will be awarded points, and each tournament leader will receive 10 bonus points. A lot of money split up at the end of the winter and spring tours. A two-time winner, 27-year-old Amleto Monachelli, his third championship round appearance this year. Second at the True Value at Landmark, and fourth at Merritt Island.
Power player Monachelli against the stroker, nice, smooth, almost a league-type player, Jim Johnson, who's won one match so far.
Crossing over, leaving the 3, and Leto checking out his slide before the line.
Well, there's two things to think about when you either stick or slide. He has a couple of pairs of shoes that he can adjust the approaches to, but maybe the approaches are a little bit smoother or slipperier with bowling against a player like Johnson, who has a tendency to smooth them out with that sock. That's nothing against that, and it just changes them a little bit.
Monachelli marking with his pair in our second match. Now, the winner of this game will meet Dave Ferraro, and then in the PBA National Championship one-game final, Pete Weber. Settled down after only 4 strikes in his victory over Mark Baker, shooting a 182. Look at that, 31 ABC sanctioned perfect 300 games. There is Terry Johnson. And the folks in Wilmington, Delaware, will be up and cheering, especially at Brookside Bowling Lanes in Newark.
Johnson has the style that can conquer this championship here. The left-hand lane has historically and today proving out to give the cranker, the power player, a lot of trouble. Johnson, a simple down and in player, seemed to have made the right adjustment there in the second frame, can give Monachelli tremendous, tremendous match.
Follow through, a long look, and what Amleto saw didn't please him. The 2-4-10.
A split that a power player like Monachelli leaves quite often, and he knows how to convert it. Simply this: get the ball over to the left side of the 2-pin, drive the 2 into the 10, the ball will automatically take out the 4. If he doesn't make this, Chris, I think Johnson might go wild here.
So an open frame in the second. Amleto Monachelli, 2 titles, the 1988 Showboat Invitational winner, and won his first in the 1987 Japan Cup. Teresa, his bride of 3 months.
The full grip, fingertip grip. Monachelli spreads that index finger for control and kind of keys off of it, snaps that ball at the release.
A high hit, 3-6.
Why a lane like 25 continues to hook every year is simple, Chris. This used to be a lacquer bowling center for the fans at home that learned to bowl in the 50s, maybe even the 60s. There was lacquer on the surface instead of urethane as we have today. The old track or worn area still remains embedded in the pine slightly. The characteristic is there, and these players are not adjusting to it.
Now carefully wiping that gleaming bowling ball, setting the grip.
Full fingertip.
Three in a row. Second game for Jim Johnson, Jr.
The style that has historically provided the champion here at Imperial Lanes in Toledo, the down and in style. Earl Anthony won the title here 3 times. Dick Weber's won here. Normally a down and in player. Johnson, one of the 2 down and in players in the championship round today.
Well, what can we say about that left lane, Nelson?
A little too quick. He was tentative with his shot, didn't let it roll. And what we have is shoot the half, the 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 difficult spare. If he makes it, he will still continue to lead by 29.
All but the 7, an open frame after 3 in a row. We're in our second match of the PBA National Championship. More following this.
Come cruising with Quaker State, and you could win this 57 vet. Buy a case of Quaker State and send for a free cruising cassette. Rock, soul, country, or California sounds. And maybe win this vintage vet. The road goes on forever when you're cruising with Quaker State quality.
Do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Wood finish for beautiful color like no other. And Minwax polyurethane for fast-drying protection that lasts.
Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
World champion Jackie Joyner-Kersee has asthma. Jackie relies on Primatene Mist for the fastest kind of relief. In as fast as 15 seconds, Primatene restores free breathing. Primatene Mist, when speed of relief counts.
Cross the road, cross the road. Cross the road to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Only one place has the Colonel's original recipe of 11 herbs and spices, and it's just across the road.
Cross the road to Kentucky Fried Chicken, yeah. Cross the road.
Skating stars Sparkle, Boitano, Hamill, Thomas, and Hamilton. Dazzling performances when ABC's Wide World of Sports returns next.
Atleta Monachelli, who was denied strikes in the first 3 frames, has come up with a double in the 4th and 5th. Now it's Jim Johnson, after an open frame, shooting in the 5th. Sliding by the pocket. 2, 4, 5.
Johnson speeding up a little bit with the adrenaline flowing, and with his type of arm swing, he cannot afford to speed up. He must wait for the ball. He's got a little bounce or loop in his swing, and if he doesn't wait for it, it gets out of line. He either sends it wide or pulls it. That particular shot, he didn't wait, pushed it to the right.
And chops the 2 off the 4 and then the 5. Ball. Woof.
What a great break for Johnson. Watch the 2-4 chop off the ball. The 4-pin goes, 2-pin goes straight back, comes back out of the pit, and knocks out the 5. And the ruling on that, Chris, is a ball cannot come out and come back and play, but a pin is never dead until it's swept off and the frame is ended. So the pin, even though it went all the way back, came back out, it's still in play. He makes the spare.
I think I saw him say, thank you very much. And the 10-pin on the left lane.
This is the break where the 2-pin pounces out of the pit. He thinks he's missed the spare. In all his life, he never had a great break like that at a more opportune moment.
Jim Johnson, who won the first match over Mark Baker, 182 to 171. Here in the second, opponent Atleta Monachelli. Coming from a country of Venezuela where there are probably a total of 600 bowling lanes. Nelson and his dad owns, what, 16?
A few of them down there. Population of Barquisimeto, 600,000. The full grip of Monachelli spreads that index finger, has a good tight squeeze on it, using a urethane ball. He can take the lead with a strike, has a double working 6th frame.
Two years ago, Monachelli was 1 strike away from winning this tournament. We asked him what happened.
I wouldn't do anything different because I think I threw a great shot. I just got robbed. I left the 4-pin. I just hope I have another chance for the title today.
And that's a very positive response to almost a negative happening. It seems like, as we know, all great champions put the disastrous things behind them and think positive, so he has the right attitude, and he also has the lead. 7th frame.
3-bagger now in the 7th. All but the 9.
I'll tell you, we see it week after week after week. The power player is getting to the championship round. Watch this. Now, the ball goes to the 1-3, and then it chops off the 5 and the 8, and the ball doesn't even deflect. It's supposed to deflect into the 9. The game was designed that way. Bowling balls in the hands of these professionals are a little bit too strong for the pins we are using. We need some 4-pounders up there.
All right, breaking up, covering the 9. 3 pins separating these two at Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio.
Wherever wheels are rolling, no matter what the load, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road, wherever folks vacation, wherever crops are grown, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road. For the pride, for the dream, for the love, and for the team, for the sweat and for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
ABC Sports rolls into Kansas to crown the champion of the $150,000 King Louis Open next Saturday on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour.
Nelson, a pair of congenial hosts.
Mike Duquette, Daryl Duquette. Mike on the board of directors of the National Bowling Proprietors Associations that represent almost 3,800 bowling centers in the United States, and they will be holding the second jewel of the Triple Crown 2 weeks from now in Edmond, Oklahoma, the BPAA U.S. Open.
And hoping to do well there, as he's doing here, Jim Johnson, Jr. With a high hit. Sometimes.
I'll tell you, this bowling is fun just watching it every week. These guys leave all sorts of stuff. Look at this one. Here we go. He has the 3, 4, 6, 7. Needs to get the ball over here by the 3-pin, drive it over into the 4-7 area, hope for a good break, convert that spare.
So a bad break for Johnson. That coming in the 7th frame of our second match. Jim having won the first 182-171 over Mark Baker. And Monachelli is the opponent now, leading by 19. No luck that time on the 5.
Well, a wry smile from Jim Johnson as he apparently is going to rip the 5. Watch this pin action, the 1-3. Now watch it go over here and paralyze, what we call paralyze the 5-pin. It's standing up, almost goes over, and it's just stopped.
Okay. Terry, rather tensely enjoying this match that her husband's bowling in against another red-shirted professional, Amleto Monachelli. Trust Corp has announced that they will again sponsor this event 1 year from now, same place, same city. Good news?
Great tournament, a lot of money, prestige.
So now Amleto with a 310.
Amleto with the big hook ball just could not wait upon that shot, and boom, hooks it high, crosses over, the baby split, get the ball over next to the 3-pin, let the ball deflect into the 10, Top pros will make this 50% of the time or better. Right now, it's or better for Monachelli to stay in close in the match.
What a day. Pressure, sure, playing some part in it, but trying to figure out this championship pair today is difficult. Teresa.
A little bit confused, Teresa. I don't know how much she knows about bowling. I'm sure she can count the money that might be going down the drain if Amleto would happen to lose this match. That big strike ball gets him to the championship round quite often, but his spare ball has been his undoing, but he still has a 6-pin lead, 9th frame.
Mucho better, as Amleto would say. Looking at a score sheet, our statistician today is Palmer Fahlgren, who happens to be the defending champion of next week's event in Overland Park, Kansas.
The King Louis Open. Johnson, 9th frame.
He wanted that one so badly. 2-4, still standing.
Johnson not adapting to the lane changes that are happening right here in the championship round. For the fans that watch every week as Jim's wife looks on, lanes do change. It happens in league play. It happens out here in the championship round. Lanes have a tendency to get a little bit slicker and then dry out after about an hour or so. Johnson needs to adjust.
As we told you earlier, the loser of that first match, which was Mark Baker, $8,000. Loser of this one, $10,000. But the winner, with 2 more wins, could win $54,000. That's the winner's share of this huge purse.
The situation very similar to the first match. Baker could have thrown a couple of strikes and put pressure on Monachelli. Johnson now can throw a couple of strikes and take the lead.
It's a high hit and another 3-6.
The situation becomes identical to the first match. In the first match, Baker marked in the 10th frame, forced Johnson to mark in the 10th. The same thing will happen if Johnson marks here. Monachelli will have to get a spare or strike.
Winner of this game will meet 4-time champion David Ferraro of Kingston, New York, and then the tournament leader from Florissant, Missouri, Pete Weber.
Good count, important on the final ball, would assure him of a chance to win the match if Monachelli would falter. That forces Monachelli to get at least 9 on 2 balls to tie or a spare to win.
180 for Johnson, had a 182 in his victory over Mark Baker.
Any kind of mark wins the match, spare or strike. A 9 count opens a tie. Anything less, Monachelli defeats himself. A lock tie. If he misses the 4-pin, a spare, a winner, he would go against Dave Ferraro in the semifinal.
So there it is in the right lane. The only 4-pin and a singularly tough competition, professional bowling. All right, Monachelli finished 3rd overall in this huge field. Now goes into the semifinal game against tough Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. That match coming up next.
Bo Burton's Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Kellogg's, where you can get a taste for the healthy life.
Last week on the bowling tip, we discussed the traction shoe. This week, we're going to discuss the slide shoe. Have you ever wondered why the pros on TV never slip and slide and fall down? Or maybe you'll see a pro with one red shoe on one foot and a white shoe on the other foot? Well, here's why. They have adjusted their shoes to the approaches. For the slide shoe, here's what the pros do. For normal approaches to sticky approaches, they use a shoe that's laid out like this. They have the buckskin sole up here in the slide area, the perforated buckskin sole, and the grooved rubber heel. Now, if you ever run into very slippery approaches, say synthetic approaches, or if you ever bowled in the league right after somebody's dumped a lot of powder down the approach, you know what a problem that can be. So for slippery approaches, here's what the pros use. A smooth sole up in the sliding area and a raised heel. It's much higher, about 3/8 of an inch higher than a normal heel, with a groove in it. This will accommodate the slippery approaches. So remember, to maximize your bowling potential, don't let your shoes be your downfall.
Attention shredded wheat eaters, you've been missing something. Taste, but no more. Kellogg's Squares brings you that superlative shredded wheat nutrition with no salt, no fat, no cholesterol. But wait, Kellogg's Squares gives you free in every bite. Taste. Sweet, delectable fruit in the middle. You might never eat plain old shredded wheat again. Kellogg's Squares. Shredded wheat with taste. Free in every bite. And speaking of taste, now Squares have 35% more raisin. Great taste. Free.
Now let Bo help you score even more. You'll also fix problems, improve strategy, and practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports brings you Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
We've progressed now to the semifinal game of this important PBA National Championship. Monachelli winning over Jimmy Johnson Jr., as you see, 191 to 180, and Dave Ferraro will be his next opponent. An opponent in many parts of our society now has been drugs. This young lady with a PBA t-shirt which says, "Just say no." And we're proud that all of our colleagues at Capital Cities ABC feel very strongly about just saying no to drugs of any kind of abuse. Just say no. We hope you'll say yes to next week as we move to Overland Park, Kansas, at the King Louis Open, where Palmer Fahlgren is the defending champion. Then to Edmond, Oklahoma for the first time. $500,000 Seagram's Coolers. $100 grand to the winner. And Bo, I know you'll come out and bowl in that one.
For $100,000, Chris, go anywhere. Edmond, Oklahoma is going to be a great tournament, and this tournament is one of the greatest of all time. Look at the size of the field, 350 pros, 197 average, some of the lower scores we've seen all year long. And here are some of the other finishes. Palumbi, Duke, Arnold, Hanley, an early leader, recovering a little bit. Albee, going for 3 in a row. Stayrook, Brian Voss, the defending champion here. Mike Taylor, watch this guy. He's really coming on. Houston, Benoit, Ballard, all the good names. Steve Cook, once again, bowling well. Bornhop, Mark Williams, Licklider, Dennis Horan up there, another lefty. Jimmy Pritt's a good week. Alan Bishop and Jim Smith finish out the top 24, 90 places paid. Ryan Schaefer got the last spot at $1,010.
Here at Imperial Lanes, 2 games, 2 different winners. Johnson in the first, Monachelli in the second. Monachelli now against Ferraro in this semifinal match.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it. With Son of a Gun Protected from STP. If your dash looks dull, shoot it. Your seats are shot, shoot them. Your tires look flat, heck, shoot them too. Don't leave your roof a wreck. Give it some luster. Give your car high caliber protection with Son of a Gun from STP. Son of a Gun, what a difference.
Some things you just count on, like Social Security. I figured the name meant what it said, security. But then I heard some folks in Washington wanted to change it. What can one woman out here in the country do? But those people didn't know I'd have AARP on my side. And you know that Social Security I was counting on? I'm getting it.
AARP, making a difference.
Last year, Ebonite took you to a new plateau of excellence on oily lanes with the Thunderbolt. Now the Thunder rolls on with the new Thunderbolt MD for medium to dry lanes. The same devastating power core and an exclusive new MD cover that makes it hunt down the pocket and hit harder with less deflection on medium to dry lanes. Make some thunder of your own. Ask your pro about the Thunderbolt MD from Ebonite.
Match 3, that means the semifinal match before the title game. Monachelli winning that last match. And here he is, shooting first, his opponent, four-time champion Dave Ferraro.
The action will pick up in this match. More scores, tougher competition.
That's a great greeting to Ferraro from Monachelli.
Ferraro, one of the best clutch bowlers we have on the Professional Bowlers Tour. If you give him a chance, he'll slip his foot right inside that door, kick it open, and take all the money. This week's average, 216.
Like that. 29-year-older that grew up in bowling. His parents owning bowling lanes, and he is a likable young man.
An accuracy player with good wrist action, short backswing, snaps that ball well out of the lane, good leverage, has a long slide. Look at how that arm and hand go directly up towards the target, not to the left, not to the right. That finishes the shot and keeps the ball on line. Doesn't play the big hook, but has a lot of roll.
So the man who has a double was second in Miami on one of our earlier telecasts, and here he is going for the PBA National.
Looking for things to come, the left-hand lanesman, the tougher of the two lanes. Actually, Ferraro decided, by being the higher finisher in the tournament, to finish the match on the left-hand lane. That means he feels confident on that lane. Could spell trouble for Monachelli.
Monachelli, who defeated Weber, Ferraro, and Baker in match play.
The profile of Monachelli, five-step delivery all the way to the top of the swing, hand cocked wide open, delivers with that good pivot step, tremendous leverage, and it coined the phrase starting the lawnmower release, snapping that wrist around, and really playing almost a rainbow shot. He started on the center board, about the 19th board of the 39 boards in the lane, sent it out to the first board, and brought it back. The match is even. Both players perfect.
Love touch down there, but it's the 10-pin that stands.
The action of the head pin, very important with these big power players. See that head pin going to the left sideboard, out of your picture, comes back into play, drives the 4 over, doesn't quite reach the 10, leaves himself, for most players, a relatively simple spare.
Semi-final game.
Ferraro, who grew up in a bowling family and a harness racing family, aspired to be a harness racer such as his father. Hay fever was his downfall in that sport. I think he made the right decision. One of the best right now.
3 for 3 for Dave Ferraro. Earlier, he talked about his new venture.
Well, Mike Albee and I are doing an instructional book based on 150 to 190 average league bowler, and hopefully it'll be on the bookshelves about December or January.
And he said, Chris, that he involves certain stuff in there, which I think is very important, of adjusting the lanes as the league goes along, and some league strategy. So I wish him the best of that. He's got a good co-author in Albee. Get the perspective of two young pros, both from the right side and the left.
And then after the string of 3, the 2-4-10.
Fast feet, the downfall of professional bowlers. He gets anxious, wants to run up there and throw it too quickly, so lets the ball slide by. Once again, we have seen this split today. You need to drive the 2-pin into the 10 to convert it. If he does not convert, he will be trailing in the match.
And not only that, but an open frame. We're in Toledo. If you watched MASH, Tony Paco's restaurant, because Jamie Farr is a native of Toledo, Ohio. Oh, the sausage is great there and hot.
Today at rider, we're putting one of our trucks through its paces. This truck was selected at random from our fleet to prove that we maintain the highest performance standards. Standards that ensure a smooth, easy, and comfortable ride. Right? Move yourself with Ryder. We make the going easy.
I may look like older engines, but I'm really a complex 80s kind of guy. I've got onboard computers, programmed fuel injection, all kinds of high-tech systems. And frankly, old Bob, your mechanic down the street, just doesn't understand me. That's why I need Precision Tune. They've got what it takes to diagnose my problems, tap my inner feelings, fix me up, and guarantee it. Now if they can help me get over my fear of the dark.
Precision Tune. We do more than fix your car. We guarantee it.
Top NASCAR drivers match teams and machines in one of the biggest stops on the circuit, the Atlanta 500, live tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Bowling here in Toledo. Running behind our time schedule because of so many spares today, which take, as you know, a lot longer than a strike. A strike in the fourth for Amleto, a 4-pin in the fifth. Monachelli. Slight lead over Dave Ferraro, who finished second overhaul, just behind Pete Weber. Far behind Pete Weber. But for Ferraro, Monachelli, and Baker, there were few pins separating second, third, and fourth. And after the open, 3-6.
Ferraro just plain pulled that ball. He's trying to hit around the fifth board or first arrow, and he just pulled it left. His Gloria looks on, didn't like that shot at all.
They have a son, John David, who is now 16 months. And speaking of births, we want to congratulate John and Lisa Bassoni. John, a former associate, and Lisa, the daughter of our NBA colleague on ABC for many years, Jack Twyman. And of course, John's dad was the NCAA champion hockey coach at Michigan State. The new baby for John and Lisa Bassoni, Mary Carroll. Congratulations. All right, John David's dad came through with another strike, started with 3. Things are still close. The winner to meet, intense, exciting, energetic Pete Weber.
Deliberate Monachelli, trailing by 6, has been around the pocket every shot here in the semifinal game. Started with 2 strikes, left a 10-pin strike, and then a 4-pin in the 5th frame. When he keeps it around the pocket, he's awfully tough.
Hanging on the edge. And as a result, the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
We've seen this split a lot of times this year with these big breaking balls, and I experimented around this week and had some of the other players shoot it for me, Chris. The best percentage is to get the ball left of the head pin and shoot it, the head pin, over into the 6-10. So that's what Monachelli should go for. Going the other way, trying to bounce it in, is no good.
Hey! Takes a 1-pin lead. Monachelli to Risa.
That's the way to do it. Drive the head pin over into the 6-10 zone. Don't try to have the ball deflect over in that area. Great shot.
I think they heard the cheering in Venezuela.
As my little boy would say, that ain't so bad.
Chip off the block, right?
Tight game. Monachelli by 1, 7th frame.
And a 4-pin after that beautiful split conversion by Monachelli in our semifinal game. We are even. Pete Weber, you'll hear the pin fall, continues to practice. He is our tournament leader, seeking the last leg of the Triple Crown. We'll return for more of this semifinal game after this message.
World champion Jackie Joyner-Kersee has asthma. Jackie relies on Primatene Mist for the fastest kind of relief. In as fast as 15 seconds, Primatene restores free breathing. Primatene Mist, when speed of relief counts.
If your car pulls to one side, let Midas check your alignment. At Midas, trained professionals with the latest technology align your car right. You see, we're serious about safety. Hey, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Well, you're in trouble already. I don't do flakes anymore. Come on, you want to make a splash for the cereal today, you got to jazz it up. Nuts, chocolate chips. Nothing here but flakes. Not something so simple. Now, I see you don't want to be full of stuff like the other guys. They zig, you zag. Very clever. I like it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
ABC Sports rolls into Kansas to crown the champion of the $150,000 King Louis Open next Saturday on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour.
Here's a man that was 5th last year, much to his chagrin, losing to Dave Ferraro. We're talking about our tournament leader, Pete Weber, who will meet the winner of the Ferraro-Monachelli match for the championship and $54,000.
Ferraro, 7th frame, can take the lead.
Four.
The championship match is pro forma to other championship matches we've seen here at Toledo Trust. Very simply, the players, if they can get a real hot hand, can shoot some big numbers, but the PBA has put a premium on shot making in this major championship. Accuracy and speed control of utmost importance.
A long format in the PBA National Championship, and you talked about something long and beautiful. The World's Challenge of Champions, Wide World Mix. Dorothy Hamill, to whom you're looking. One of my all-time favorites, Bo.
Some of the great ones, Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton, Debbie Thomas, following the PBA Tour. One of my favorite programs. Wide World of Sports, the Ice Skaters.
Scott Hamilton, a native of nearby Bowling Green, home of the university. Battle for the right to go into the final game. Monachelli winning the last match, 191 to Jim Johnson's 180. Johnson winning over Mark Baker in the first, 182 to 171. When the shorts get a little tight in the seat.
That's for sure. Needs a strike to stay even in the match. Anything less, he falls in arrears.
Broke up the split, but left the 4-7.
It amazes me how wide Monachelli can throw the ball if he gets out of the thumb hole clean and still get back to the pocket. And yet, see how wide this ball is, only out to about the 10th board, and doesn't even hardly drift high enough to leave a split. If Monachelli can loosen up, he has such a tremendous area to the pocket. When he throws the ball well, he could be very tough. You know, Chris, as a professional bowler, you look for 1 or 2 boards at the breaking point, let's say 45, 50 feet down the lane, and if you can throw the ball well and have the ball take any one of those 2 boards in the pocket, you usually can score very well. Monachelli looks like he has 5 or 6, but he's erratic with his speed and with his release. So far he's been fortunate to even stay close in the match. He trails by 2, 9th frame.
Monachelli's pressure foundation strike.
All the angles of a professional bowler. Monachelli starting in the center. He'll slide left to center, start the ball around the 3rd arrow, drift out towards the 2nd arrow, send it out all the way to almost the last board, snap back into the pocket. Now, match play competition, score is only secondary to who wins, and for a chance for Ferraro to really put some pressure on Amuleto.
Ooh, a 10.
When you see Dave Ferraro start running him out, you know it's in a real tight situation, and Watch this. Watch the angle that he ends up with. He ends up right around the center of the lane, playing a down and in shot around the first arrow. Good high follow through, his best shot of the match. Doesn't get the desired result.
Loser of this semifinal game, $15,000. But the winner can go into a match where the total is $81,500. 54 to the winner, 27.5 to the runner-up.
Dave Ferraro, with a proven track record in the clutch, one of the best, has chosen to finish on the left lane. He is now in the situation where he can take advantage of that. He leads by 2, but no matter what Dave Ferraro does, he cannot shut out Monachelli. Monachelli can determine his own destiny.
Now you see the intensity on the face of this 4-time winner on the PBA Tour.
The first strike in the 10th, his wife Gloria looks on, forces Monachelli to get 1 strike. If Dave Ferraro can strike again, he'll force Monachelli to get 2 strikes. As the PBA Tour always makes the difference between the player who could perform in the clutch and who struggles when he needs it.
$2-8 for Ferraro.
The spare is almost secondary. The best Ferraro can do is 203. If he gets 1 pin, he'll have at least a 202 game that will still force Monachelli to throw 1 strike for all the money. And that was his audio question. Can he do it?
So it's 203.
2 years ago, the national championship, Amleto Monachelli stood on this very lane, needing 1 strike to win the championship. He left a 4-pin. He said if that situation comes up again today, he will not do anything different. He felt that he can make only a shot that good.
A 10-pin. Yes, another single pin, Bo.
Unbelievable. He just went to his knees. He felt he could get a strike. I think the experience of leaving the 4-pin 2 years ago was in his mind. Now watch the action, the 5-pin, the head pin. The ball impacts the 1 and 3, slams the 5-pin over towards the 7. But here comes the head pin back around. He needs to carry it to win. Does not. Ferraro against Weber.
So we set up a tremendous match because Ferraro in blue defeated Weber in last year's championship early on. Here we go. We'll be back.
Nature's light. Bathing fields of grain, enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
This part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Book says it fits.
At Big A, we supply the pros, so we have to know what we're talking about, and our parts have to be pro quality. It's one more way we earn the A every day.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Monday.
I will meet here in exactly 25 years.
Childhood pledge comes back to haunt MacGyver.
I was responsible.
Monday.
By the sea, and enduring centuries of New England's harsh winters, stands the great American home of John Paul Jones. For over 16 years, it's been maintained with Sears Weatherbeater exterior paint. Today, we're repainting with new advanced formula Weatherbeater, the most durable paint we've ever offered, to protect it through the winters ahead. Sears Weather Beater paint, preferred by more homeowners for great American homes like yours.
Why is everyone so excited about the grand opening of Builder Square? Hey, maybe it's because they carry the top name brands by do-it-yourselfers and professionals. Or maybe could it be the big selection, huh? You know, I bet it's the friendly advice. I got it. Maybe people want to try and win a Builder Square shopping spree. I like the free balloons. I don't know. We're overlooking something here.
Builder Square, now open.
Could it be the advertising? Nah, I don't think so. Advertising.
Championship Figure Skating, Saturday at 4:30 here on TV 27.
Hi, I'm Frank Gifford in New York, and coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, special figure skating performances by Brian Boitano, Brian Orser, Dorothy Hamill, Debbie Thomas, and more at the World Challenge of Champions from Paris, France. Also, we'll have a special report from the World Figure Skating Championships, including an interview with Jill Trinery, America's latest medal winner, plus our regular Athlete of the Week feature. It's all just ahead at 4:30 Eastern. Now back to Chris and Bowling.
Thank you very much, Frank. 203 to 200, 6 strikes. Biggest score and the most strikes of any of the 3 games. David Ferraro now going in against the tournament leader, Pete Weber, bowling for $81,500. The championship, the PBA National Championship.
Chris, 2 winners in this match. Neither one of these players will give up. Ferraro, when he gets in the championship match, plays as tough as anybody. Weber is more determined than any person I've ever seen in a #1 position in years. He just does not believe that he can be beaten. Let's see what happens.
That's Ferraro's greeting to tournament leader Pete Weber, who's made the finals here before. As we told you, he won the '87 Firestone, the '88 United States Open, yet to win the PBA National Championship. He's been devastating all week.
What a terrific break he gets on the first shot. The head pin. Watch the action of the head pins. Go into the sideboard and come in and knock out the 2, 4, and 5. You'll see the 2-8 double wood spear here. There it is. Here comes the head pin in behind. Trips out the 2. A super break for Weber to start off with. The second frame is going to be ultra important. I watched him take his practice balls before the match, and he wasn't even close on this lane. Let's see what happens.
And he left a 4-pin.
Pacing is so important in a match like this. The lanes are so tough that you just cannot go out and attack, throw balls, get all excited. You cannot beat yourself by trying to attack too quickly. Weber, very smart the first 2 frames.
Strike spare for Dick and Renita Weber's 26-year-old son, Pete. The man over his left shoulder, that was Worth Wilson, Executive Vice President of Trust Corp. Coming up high, leaving the 6-10.
David Ferraro is 6th in average so far on the PBA Tour with 217 through 11 weeks. The #1 man, Pete Weber, 220 through 11 weeks.
Ooh, chops it off the 10.
How often does that happen to the league player? You don't see it happen very often in a Pro Tour. Watch this. The ball comes right in, breaks just a smidgen, doesn't deflect into the 10. Oh, my gosh. Couldn't have been a 16th of an inch between those 2 pins, and it causes Ferraro to fall behind by 12.
You don't like to see it in an important match like this, or any time. And then high again, 6-10 on the left side.
Now, what a player should do, and David will do this, he's practiced this shot many, many times. He uses a little bit slicker bowling ball for this shot, and he'll just go ahead and try to make that exact same shot, because hopefully lightning won't strike twice and chop it twice. Perfect.
All right. And the cheers here, you hear them for Pete Weber. His third championship round appearance this year. All right, a double, or rather a strike for Weber in the third.
See the style of Pete Weber as being very familiar to all of us. Five-step delivery all the way at the top of the swing, hand open, hand cocked, drives with that pivot foot, tremendous leverage, as good a wrist action, arm swing, and look at how stretched out his whole body extension is. You just cannot roll it any better than that. Fourth frame to take a 22-pin lead.
Son of a great champion, Dick Weber, intense today, wanting to win the third and last part of the Triple Crown in this ring.
Being a mom is not easy. Moms cannot get sick. Without Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine, I can't take care of her. I can't be a mother. I can't do my job. Keeps my machine rolling. Helps me breathe in the morning. Helps that pain, the achiness feeling, the feverish feeling go away. Oh, this is the right stuff. Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. This is the miracle worker.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast relief for tough winter colds.
I can't survive without it, okay?
Wherever wheels are rolling, no matter what the load, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road, wherever folks vacation, wherever crops are grown, the name that's known is Firestone. Where the rubber meets the road.
Can't say enough for Trust Corp embracing the PBA National Championship all these years, and representing them today, the corporate vice president, Ed Turner.
And as you said earlier, Chris, they'll be back for a 10th consecutive year with the national championship in 1990. Ferraro, fourth frame, trails by 22.
And again, a 10-pin.
In addition to the $54,000 that goes to the winner, a 3-year exemption to the Firestone Tournament champion would be enjoyed by both of these players. That means they wouldn't have to win a tournament or even bowl on the tour for 3 years to still bowl on the Firestone.
And David Ferraro, he's been on our telecast 15 times over a span of 10 years, and during which he's won 4 titles, none as important to his career as this one. Gloria, full support. Beautiful strike on the pesky left lane.
Pete Weber, age 26, with all the smarts and experience of any veteran that's ever stepped upon the lanes, knows that now is the time to get Ferraro. Weber has a 23-pin lead. Don't fall asleep here in the 5th. Go with your Sunday punch early. Ferraro will sneak up and get you if you let him.
Now he's strung together 3. We asked him if he thinks or anybody else can win the Triple Crown in one season. Here's his answer.
Well, winning the Triple Crown in a single year could be tough. The players today, out of the players today, I think Baker and myself and Ferraro could have a shot at it. But winning all 3 in 1 year, that would be really tough.
So on the left lane, it's a 3-6-10 for Weber.
Lost the ball off his hand just a little bit. It's a very warm bowling environment in here, a low ceiling in this bowling center. And with a low ceiling, you always end up with a lot of heat with a big crowd. Pete gets the 3-6-10 spare.
I think George Haig, the chairman of Trust Corp, hit it right on the head when he said, Toledo likes bowlers, Trust Corp likes bowling.
And I'm sure that they've been good companions for all these years. Now, Ferraro needs to squeeze Weber a little bit. He trails by 30, can cut that lead to 26 frame. Strike up.
Come on!
All right. Gritting his teeth. Cutting the lead to 20 pins now with that double.
What a marvelous shot by this young man in a key situation. Follow through directly towards the target. If anyone at home obviously works on their game, try for that. He's going to run it out. See the perfect strike. All 10 pins in the pit. Now the lead could be just 10 for Weber if Ferraro can strike in the 7th.
Come on, ball!
Oh, he gets it. Well, we're in historic Toledo, where the most famous battle was that one of fallen timbers. General Mad Anthony Wayne defeating the first Americans and opening up expansion to the west.
All right, Chris, and this, he expands his strike zone with this particular shot. The head pin of the sideboard, it rips it around, carries out the 10. The most important strike so far in the match.
Just a touch high.
The importance of match game play, as you see Weber riveted on the target, keeps his head down, his eyes on the target, knows it's going a little high, leaves the 4. As I was saying, the most important thing in match game play is not to have a letdown and let your opponent feel like you're squeezing him. And right now, Weber needs another strike to let Ferraro know that, hey, he's still there, even though he only has a 9-pin lead.
Using it all.
Now Pete has some trouble. If he makes the spare, he'll continue to lead by 5 pins. As you see the angle that Peter is playing, he goes over the 2nd arrow, sends the ball not quite wide enough out to about the 5th board. Much more difficult than the 3-6-10. He has to concentrate on get that 9 out also.
Bo, is he as free swinging as he was earlier in the match?
I don't think so, Chris. The point you picked up, in the early part of the match, he went light, ripped the rack, and then in the key 4th frame, Peter went to the whip. He threw it as strong and as hard as he could, sent it out wide, took a commanding 33-pin lead. Now that Ferraro has bounced back, Weber's a little more tentative, and Ferraro, for the first time, can take the lead, 8th frame.
Come on, boy!
And he does. Nelson, the big leaders in bowling in the past years were honored by the American Bowling Congress this week in Wichita. Our friend Bruce Plachon, Pete Tontis, George Pappas, and Harry Lippy, all inducted into the Hall of Fame, of which we're proud to be a member.
Good point. Some of the great players. Pete Tontis, a winner of this tournament way back in the early 60s, as Pete Weber is working on just himself. The crowd will tell Pete the story. Don't let the crowd affect your game plan, Peter, but he knows how to win, and here's another guy that knows how to win. Just 5 pins separate the 2 players, 9th frame.
10-pin. Dave Ferraro bowling in the 9th frame. Much appreciated by this capacity crowd, one of the largest crowds, because it's a 60-lane, very stretched out bowling establishment.
A large, large frame. If Ferraro had struck there, he'd have had Weber on the ropes. The match is up for grabs.
As we indicated, Weber 3 times in the finals, finishing 5th. Well, the least worst he can do here is 2nd, and he doesn't want that, because it's a chance to be one of only 3 to win the U.S. Open, the Firestone, and this championship. There he was back in his tempo.
Peter is the tournament leader. He made the decision to finish on the left-hand lane in the clutch, and there he is right now. The best shot he has thrown so far in the match, there's no doubt. He knows they're all going down on this shot. And for Pete Weber to win the Triple Crown, he can take it all himself right now with 2 strikes. If he strikes in the 10th and 11th, he will shut out Dave Ferraro. 2 strikes, nothing Ferraro can do.
He's 4 lanes off to the left. Pete Weber. Can you imagine in Florissant, Missouri, Bo, what's going on? Juanita and Dick Weber, his parents.
Well, the first man in almost a decade to have a chance to win the Triple Crown, Chris, Pete Weber, stands on the approach, 11th frame. And really a lifetime of training and practice for Weber will be measured on this shot.
And the skaters to follow in Wide World of Sports. Won the big ones. That's why it's the Challenge of Champions. A 9-pin.
It is not over. Pete Weber will finish 221. Ferraro will need 2 strikes and 6 to become the PBA National Champion.
As you pointed out, though, Dave would be the one that you might send up on the approach if you needed that.
The last time Ferraro was in this situation was in Cleveland, Ohio, against Brian Voss, the defending champion this tournament. Needed 2 strikes, doubled in the 10th, defeated Voss 211 to 204. The same kind of results would bring him his first major title. Needs this strike.
Just perfect.
The only thing that went through Dave Ferraro's mind as he walked back off the approach was an eye-to-eye meet with his wife, Gloria. Everybody here knows the situation. The 6 pins are secondary. He'll get the 6. He must strike to become the national champion.
He has bowled a 221, Weber.